Alright guys, welcome to combat training video number 1. Today we'll be taking a look at basic maneuvering for combat. The first concept that we're going to look at today is rolls. Rolls are used primarily for two purposes. The first is to dodge or mitigate enemy fire. The second is to execute sharp turns and maneuvers. Remember that when you are turning, you should always roll into it. Never should you ever strive to turn, for example. This will expose yourself to the enemy and result in you getting killed. The second concept that we'll be looking at is a flip. Flips are a very basic concept. Many people are acquainted with them and they understand what they are, and they even know how to do them in a game. However, the question is, do they know how to do them correctly? There is a very specific way that the flip must be executed, and avoiding this sort of tactic or way of doing it will probably get yourself fired at even more rather than mitigating damage. So in a flip there are typically three stages. The first stage is when you are completely vertical. That is, your ship is pointing up towards the sky. Your back end of the ship is pointing down, and if the enemy is looking at you, he sees only the top of your ship. This is what we call stage 1. Stage 2 is when you are again completely horizontal. Usually in this stage you'll find yourself upside down, so simply hit the Q or the E button to flip back over and be right side up again. At this point you should be heading in the opposite direction of the enemy. If he turns around and comes and pursues you again, simply repeat the tactic to keep him off your tail. You can repeat this tactic as needed, as long as you'd like. Perhaps you're toying with the enemy or something, or you could use it as a means to buy yourself time for survivability or restoration modules to pop up. The last tactic we'll be looking at today is rotation mechanic. Rotations are oftenly known as orbit. Many people use this mechanic in Star Conflict. For example, interceptors when they're orbiting a frigate. However, often people do not include a very important idea or concept into orbit mechanics. That is to always be in the blind spot of the enemy. Not being in the blind spot of the enemy will likely get you killed. So do your best to stay in this. If, however, the enemy for some reason seems to break and get you out of his blind spot, simply just afterburner straight over him or straight under him, and that should allow you to be on the opposite side of him. This will allow you time to either reposition or time to get away. Perhaps you have a friendly fleet nearby or something. Alright guys, well, that is the first video. Very basic. We'll be presenting a small test for it. Please understand the situations very well, as the questions will be very complicated and tricky. Alright guys, best of luck. Take care.